Hey Reddit, I'm Lucas, 28, and this is the story of how my family told me they couldn't afford Christmas this year. How they made me feel bad for even asking. How I believed them. How I spent weeks thinking we were all struggling. And how, when I showed up unexpectedly, I discovered something that made my blood boil. Because it wasn't that they couldn't afford Christmas. They just didn't want me there. Let's rewind. I come from what you'd call a picture-perfect family. At least, that's what they like to pretend. Mom and Dad have been married for over 30 years. My older brother, Ryan, 31, is the golden child. And me? Well, let's just say I've always been the extra. The one who wasn't as successful. The one who didn't make them proud. Still, I never thought they'd actually cut me out. Until this Christmas. It started in November. I called my mom to ask about holiday plans, same as every year. Hey, what's the plan for Christmas? Should I book my flight? Her response? An awkward pause. Then softly, "Oh, honey, I don't think we're doing Christmas this year." I blinked. What? She sighed. Money's tight, Lucas. With everything going on, we just can't afford a big holiday. My stomach sank. I knew my parents weren't rich, but things were that bad? I felt guilty. Like an idiot, I even offered to chip in. I can help with food or gifts. No, she cut me off. That's sweet, but we just want to keep things simple this year. I nodded, swallowing my disappointment. Okay, I understand. And that was it. No Christmas. No family. Nothing. Or so I thought. Fast forward to Christmas Eve. I was alone in my apartment, watching holiday movies, eating takeout, feeling like absolute crap. Then, I got a text from my cousin, Julia. It was a picture of my entire family, at my parents' house, dressed up, drinking, laughing, with a Christmas tree in the background. I stare at my phone, my heart pounding, because this wasn't just a simple gathering. It was a full-blown Christmas party. And suddenly, everything clicked. They hadn't canceled Christmas. They had canceled me. I felt a mix of rage and humiliation. I had spent weeks feeling sorry for them, thinking they were struggling. But the truth? They just didn't want me there. And that was the moment I snapped. Because if they were celebrating without me, then it was time for me to show up. And trust me, Reddit, they were not ready for what happened next. I should have just let it go. I should have taken a hint. I should have spent Christmas Eve drinking, watching movies, and moving on. But no, because in that moment, I wasn't thinking straight. I wasn't sad. I was furious. So I grabbed my coat, ordered an Uber, and headed straight to my parents' house. If they wanted Christmas without me, too bad, because I was about to crash their perfect little holiday. And they wouldn't even see it coming. The Uber pulled up in front of my parents' house, and the first thing I noticed, the driveway was full. Ryan's car was there, my aunt and uncle's car, even Grandma's ancient Toyota. My stomach twisted, because this wasn't some small, quiet gathering. This was a full family event, one that I was deliberately excluded from. I stepped out of the car, my breath visible in the cold air. I could hear laughter from inside, Christmas music playing, the sound of wine glasses clinking. And that's when it hit me. They had all lied to me. Not just my parents. Not just Ryan. All of them. They all knew. They had all agreed to leave me out. I walked up the steps and rang the doorbell. For a moment, I thought maybe they wouldn't answer. That maybe they'd just pretend they weren't home. But then, the door swung open. And standing there, holding a glass of wine, was my mom. Her smile disappeared the second she saw me. "Lucas," she gasped. I forced a smile. "Merry Christmas, Mom." She froze, like she didn't know what to say, like she had just seen a ghost. I stepped past her before she could stop me. And inside, it was worse than I expected. The house was fully decorated. Christmas tree in the corner, lit up with expensive ornaments. Stockings hanging by the fireplace. Table set with the good china. And around that table, my entire family. Ryan, his wife, my aunts, uncles, cousins, even Grandma, who lived 2 states away. All sitting together, all celebrating, all staring at me in shock. Like I was the problem, like I wasn't supposed to be there. And in that moment, I knew I had been right. They never canceled Christmas. They had just canceled me. Ryan was the first to speak. "What the hell are you doing here?" I raised an eyebrow. "Nice to see you too, bro." Mom shut the door behind me, panicked. "Lucas, this is a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" I laughed coldly. That's funny, because from where I'm standing, it looks like a Christmas party. And yet, last time we talked, you said you couldn't afford Christmas this year. The room was dead silent. No one knew what to say, because they all knew they were caught. Finally, my dad cleared his throat. It's not what you think. I turned to him. Oh, really? So what is it then? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you just didn't want me here. Mom shifted uncomfortably. Honey, we just thought. You thought what? I snapped. That I wouldn't find out? That I wouldn't notice that my own family was celebrating Christmas without me. My voice cracked at the end, and I hated it, because I wasn't sad. I was angry, and they all deserved to hear it. Ryan scoffed. Oh, come on, Lucas. Stop being dramatic. It's not a big deal. I turned to him, shocked. Not a big deal. I repeated. Are you serious? He rolled his eyes. Look, man, this is just family stuff. Maybe you should have taken a hint. I blinked. I stared at him, and that's when it hit me. This wasn't just a one-time thing. This wasn't a mistake. This was intentional. They had decided, as a family, that I didn't belong. And that hurt more than anything. I turned back to my mom. You could have just told me the truth. She looked down. I didn't want to hurt you. I let out a bitter laugh. Well, congratulations, I said, stepping back toward the door. You did anyway. She reached for me. Lucas. But I was already done. Because if this was what family was, then maybe I didn't need one. I walked out without another word. And as I stepped back into the cold December air, something strange happened. I expected to feel devastated. I expected to feel broken. But instead, I felt lighter, like I had just been freed. Because in that moment, I realized something important. Something that would change everything. I didn't need their approval. I didn't need to keep begging for a seat at their table. I had spent my whole life trying to fit into a family that didn't want me. And now, I was finally done. But what I didn't know was that this wasn't the end of the story. Because when I left, I thought I was walking away forever. But a few days later, my mom showed up at my door, begging. And that was when things really got interesting. I didn't expect to hear from them. Not after the way I left. Not after the way they looked at me when I crashed their perfect little Christmas. And honestly, I was fine with that. Because for the first time in my life, I wasn't chasing their approval. I wasn't begging for a seat at their table. I was done, or at least I thought I was, until my mom showed up at my door, looking desperate, looking panicked. And that's when I realized this wasn't over, not even close. It was 3 days after Christmas. I was sitting in my apartment, enjoying my peace and quiet, when I heard knocking. I wasn't expecting anyone, and I sure as hell wasn't expecting her. But when I opened the door, there she was, my mother. Her eyes were red, like she had been crying, like she had just lost everything. For a second, I thought maybe someone had died. But then she spoke. Lucas, she whispered. We need to talk. I leaned against the door frame, arms crossed. About what? She swallowed hard. Can I come in? I didn't move. Why are you here, Mom? She exhaled sharply. Then, voice shaking. Because I messed up. I raised an eyebrow. You're going to have to be more specific than that. Her lip trembled. I should have told you the truth. I crossed my arms. And what truth is that? She looked down, then almost whispering that I didn't want you at Christmas because of Ryan. I stared at her. Ryan, of course. That golden child, perfect son, favorite of the family. I should have known he had something to do with it. What did he do? I asked, my voice cold. She hesitated. Then, finally, he didn't want you there. And I let him convince me it was for the best. I laughed. I actually laughed. Wow, that's almost impressive. She flinched. Lucas, please. Please what? I cut her off. Be understanding? Forgive you? Pretend like I don't already know that Ryan has been your favorite since we were kids. She shook her head. That's not true. Really? I snapped. Then why did you listen to him? Why was his comfort more important than mine? She had no answer. Because we both knew the truth. She took a shaky breath. You don't understand. Ryan, he's going through a lot. I roll my eyes. Oh, I'm sorry. Is he struggling to buy another sports car? Or is his wife mad because he forgot their dog's birthday again? Lucas. No, really, Mom. What is Ryan's great struggle that made you cut me out of Christmas? She hesitated. Then, quietly, he lost his job. I blinked. What? She sighed. He was fired last month. He's been struggling. He didn't want to deal with family drama during the holidays. I let out a sharp, bitter laugh. So let me get this straight. Ryan lost his job, which is his own damn fault, by the way. And instead of dealing with it like an adult, he decided that the best way to cope was to erase me from the family. She closed her eyes. He didn't want the stress, Lucas. And what about me? I snapped. Did you ever stop to think how it would feel for me? To be cut out, to be lied to? Tears filled her eyes. I know. I was wrong. I scoffed. Yeah, no kidding. I shook my head, stepping back. Mom, go home. Her face crumbled. Lucas, please. I just want to fix this. I sighed. You can't fix this, Mom. Not with an apology. Not with excuses. She desperately grabbed my hand. Then what can I do? I pulled away, and I said the words I never thought I'd say. You can stop choosing Ryan over me. Silence. For a moment, she just stood there, frozen, because she knew she couldn't do that. And in that moment, I knew it too, because no matter what, Ryan would always be the golden child, and I would always be the extra, and I was done fighting for a place in a family that didn't want me. So I did what I should have done years ago. I stepped back, and I closed the door in her face. I haven't spoken to them since. Not my mom, not my dad, not Ryan. And honestly, I feel lighter, because I've spent my whole life trying to be good enough for them, trying to prove that I belonged. But the truth? I don't need them. I never did, because family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up. And for me, they never did. But what I didn't expect was that cutting them off would come with consequences. Because a month later, I got another call from someone I never expected. And this time, they weren't just asking for forgiveness. They were begging for my help. And let me tell you, Reddit, I had zero intention of giving it. Cutting them off was supposed to be the end of it. I was done. No more phone calls. No more fake apologies. No more pretending we were a real family. But life has a funny way of flipping the script. Because a month later, I got a call from Ryan. And the second I saw his name on my screen, I knew something was very, very wrong. I almost didn't answer. I had ignored every call from my mom, every text from Dad. But Ryan never called me. Not unless he needed something. And part of me wanted to hear him say it. So I picked up. Lucas. His voice was tight, panicked. I smirked. Well, if it isn't the golden child, to what do I owe the honor? He ignored the jab. I need your help. I laughed. Actually laughed. You gotta be kidding me. Lucas, I'm serious. Yeah? So was I when I showed up at Christmas and you treated me like garbage. Silence. Then, voice shaking. Mom and Dad might lose the house. I roll my eyes. Not my problem. They're behind on the mortgage, he rushed out. And with Dad's retirement and me being, he hesitated. Between jobs, they don't have enough to cover it. I almost felt bad. Almost. But then I remembered. They cut me out. They didn't care how I felt when I was alone on Christmas Eve. They only cared now because they needed something. And suddenly, I felt nothing. I let out a slow breath. Sounds rough, I said. Good luck with that. And I hung up. I expected that to be the end of it. But an hour later, there was a knock on my door. And when I opened it, my mother was standing there, tears in her eyes, clutching her purse like it was the only thing holding her together. And in that moment, I realized they weren't just in trouble. They were desperate. And suddenly, I wanted to hear exactly how bad things had gotten. So I let her in. And trust me, Reddit, this was about to get good. She sat down, her hands trembling. I didn't offer her coffee. Didn't offer her comfort. I just waited until finally she spoke. Lucas, we need your help. I tilted my head. I already got that part. What exactly do you want from me? She sniffled. The house. We're behind on payments. And the bank. Her voice cracked. They're threatening to foreclose. I nodded slowly. And this is my problem because... Her lip trembled. You have money. And there it was. The real reason she was here. Not because she missed me. Not because she was sorry. Because she thought I could bail them out. I allowed a sharp laugh. Wow. So let me get this straight. You cut me out of Christmas. Lied to me. Treated me like a stranger. And now, you want my money. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Lucas, we made a mistake. I shrugged. Yeah, you did. She reached for my hand. I pulled away. Lucas, please. We're family. That made me snap. I stood up, towering over her. Oh, now we're family? My voice was cold. Funny. You didn't think we were family when you were throwing your little Christmas party without me." She winced. "Lucas, we didn't think." "No." I cut her off. "You did think. You just didn't care. And now that you're out of options, you suddenly remember I exist." Her face crumpled. "I'm sorry." I scoffed. "No, you're not. You're just sorry you need me." She opened her mouth, closed it, because she knew I was right. I crossed my arms. "How much do you need?" She perked up. 20,000. I whistled. "Wow, big number." Her lip trembled. "If we don't get it, we lose the house." I nodded. "I see. And let's say I do help you. What do I get in return?" She blinked. "What?" I smirked. "Come on, Mom. You raised me better than that. Nothing comes for free. If I give you 20 grand, I want something in return." She swallowed hard. "Like what?" I leaned in. "Like you finally admitting that Ryan isn't the perfect son you always pretended he was." She gasped. "Lucas," or I continued, "you could admit that I've been right all along. That you've treated me like I don't matter. That you let Ryan push me out of the family." She looked away. And in that moment, I knew she would rather lose the house than admit the truth. And that told me everything I needed to know. I grabbed my wallet, pulled out a single $20 bill, slid it across the table. "Here, that's all you're getting from me." Her face crumbled. "Lucas, please." I stood up. "Good luck, Mom. I'm sure Ryan will figure it out." She covered her face with her hands, sobbing. And for the first time in my life, I felt nothing, because I was finally free. I didn't need them. I never did. And now, they were learning what it felt like to be on the outside, looking in, just like they had done to me. I walked her to the door, held it open, and as she stepped outside, she turned back one last time. "Lucas, is this really it?" I tilted my head. "Didn't you tell me that we just couldn't afford Christmas this year?" She flinched. I smirked. "Well, Mom, I just can't afford to save you." And with that, I shut the door in her face. I haven't heard from them since. The house? It was foreclosed 2 months later. Ryan moved in with his wife's parents. Mom and Dad are renting a tiny apartment now. And me? I'm doing just fine. Because after years of chasing their approval, I finally realized something. Family isn't about blood. It's about who's there for you, who stands by you. And them? They never did. So now, I don't either. And let me tell you, Reddit, it feels amazing.